What's going on, CDL fans? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be going through my power rankings after week 3. This is right before Major 1 of the CDL 2022 season. Going to be ranking all teams 1 through 12, showing you how they fluctuated from last week, and kind of giving some explanation as to why I think these teams are ranked where they are. If you enjoy these types of videos, make sure to drop a like. I want to see if we can hit 3 likes on this video, and subscribe for more CDL content. If you're a big fan of the Call of Duty League, definitely subscribe, because I'm going to be putting out tons of content about the Call of Duty League throughout the entirety of the season and hopefully more seasons to come. So let's kick it off with our first team, and by first team I mean our last team. To no surprise, we have the Paris Legion. I did have Paris at 11 last week, so they are down 1 this week to 12. Obviously the team I had below them last week was NYSL. I honestly just thought NYSL looked worse, but NYSL did get a victory over the Boston Breach. And Paris, I mean, they're obviously the worst team in the league. There really isn't much to say about that. Hopefully with their team change, bringing on Tom Gravity, they can be better at Major 1 and going forward into the regular season. But I do have NYSL above them at 11, so these teams fluctuated spots 11 and 12 from last week. Excited to see NYSL at the Major, because I do think they're a team with super upset potential. I mean, you have 2 of the greatest players of all time, obviously Crip and Clay. You have Hydra, who's probably a top 3 talent in, or top 3 like young talent in the league as of right now. And then obviously we have Royalty, which we're not really sure what we're going to expect to see out of him on land. But I do think they're number 11, and coming in right above them, I do have the Minnesota Rocker, who are down 1 from last week. I think the next 4 teams between 7 and 10 could really all be fluctuated, kind of depending on, you know, just your thoughts about the team. I personally like the Minnesota Rocker team, but they're just really bad at respawns, and I think the other teams are just overall more solid at every game mode, where Rocker is really not that solid when it comes to respawns, especially hardpoint. I have Rocker at 10, and I have Breach at number 9, down 3 spots from last week. Breach, you know, their thing was they're really good at search and destroy, and they lost all their search and destroy maps this past week during week 3. So this team, honestly, I think it's one of those teams where I don't really know what to expect out of them, because I feel like they have good potential, but I also feel like they have the potential to be a bottom 3 team in the league. So it's definitely going to be hit or miss with them. I just want to see more out of this team, but I do, based on their performances, have them down 3 spots to number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have the Florida Mutineers. I think I might be a little higher on Florida than some teams are. I think they're still on the same tier as like Boston and Minnesota, but I have them up 2 spots from 10 to 8 this week. I personally just think, one, they looked really good against Seattle Surge. Obviously they 3-0'd Seattle, which was awesome. And I think this team looks solid. I think Florida has the highest ceiling out of the 3 teams I just mentioned, Florida, Boston, and Minnesota. You might be able to argue Minnesota has a higher ceiling, but I think Florida has a super high ceiling. I think this could be a team that could be really good this season, but really needs to find their consistency. But I don't think they have a higher ceiling than a team that I have right above them, which is the LA Gorillas, who I have up 1 spot from last week. I think of these bottom 6 teams, you know, really from 7 through 10, these are all the same tier, like I said, but I think the Gorillas have the highest ceiling. I mean, they have 4 veterans that have all been pretty much like superstars at some point in their career, maybe minus Asim. I don't know if he ever really reached that spot in his career, but they all have these really good players on their team, and Asim's been the best player on their team this season so far. So they have this super potential, especially going into land and Major 1. I think they can do really well because they have this veteran experience, but as of right now, I can't put them any higher than 7th. Then coming in at number 6, we have the Toronto Ultra, who dropped 3 spots. It hurts me to do this because at the beginning of the year, I had Toronto number 1. Toronto's a team I predict to win champs this season, so it kind of hurts to see them like this. I mean, they got 3-0'd by OpTic and then 3-1'd by LA Thieves, so they only won one map in their last 2 series coming into this Major. Obviously not looking super great. I do think this is a team that'll still do well at the Major, or they'll still probably place top 4-ish, but you know, being a top 6 team in the league is super competitive this year, so being top 6 I still think is really good. But Toronto definitely had a tough start to the season. I do think they'll bounce back, but right now I can't put them higher than 6. Then falling the farthest from week 2 to week 3, I have the Seattle Surge, falling 4 spots from 1 to 5. The Seattle Surge, just they didn't look good in week 3. To be fair, they just didn't look good. They looked really good in like week 1 and 2. Even though they had close series, they still looked really solid. But in week 3, they just didn't look like they were all there. After the restart situation with Florida, they just didn't seem to have any composure, and I can't put them higher than 5. I think this team will stay a top 5 team all year long, and they'll probably fluctuate, you know, between 1 and 5 all season long. But right now, just based on their performances in week 3, I think the teams above them are, I think you have to power rank them higher. Coming in at number 4, we do have OpTic, who is up 3 spots. This is the highest I think I've had them so far in my power rankings. Maybe in the preseason one I had them higher, but I think this is the highest I've had them in my power rankings. I've seen some people go as far as to say OpTic is an S tier team. I disagree. If I had to put them in a tier, I put them in an A tier. Definitely, they looked really good in their last 3 series. Obviously, they lost their first 2, so finishing off with a 3-2 record, pretty solid map count. I think they're like 10-7 or 12-7, something like that. You know, they have a positive map count, which is good to see. Really good control team, pretty solid in hardpoint and search and destroy. So this is definitely one of those teams. Sorry if your Slack go off. That's not your Slack, that's mine. I always forget to mute my desktop audio when I film these. But I think OpTic deserves to be in the top 4 based on the recent performances. And I think this is the team that is either going to really upset, not really upset, like really upset the fans, really not live up to their potential at this major, or it could go really, really far. But I have them going into the top 4 in this power ranking. Then coming in at number 3, I have the London Royal Ravens up 2 spots. This is now the highest I've had London. I think London and the team I have right above them, I'll put in all of these now so you can see, obviously, because you probably know what to expect. I think London and LA Thieves could be shifted. I do think London could be put at 2, and I do think LA Thieves could be put at 3. Technically, both teams are 4-1 map count, and London has a better map record. I believe they're like 11-8, and LA Thieves is like 10-8 or something like that. It's very close. London has like 1 more map win, so technically in the standings London is higher than LA Thieves, but I just have the Thieves higher. I think the Thieves are a team that, because they have veteran presence on their roster, we kind of have a better expectation out of them compared to this London team, which is obviously got 2 rookies, a second-year player, and then 0. They could be hitting a hot start and then fall off. These rookies could fall off, especially at LAN. So honestly, just because of the more veterans on LA Thieves, I put them 1 spot higher, but you can alternate them. I wouldn't be mad at that. But obviously at number 1 we have the Atlanta FaZe. I mean, 5-0 record through stage 1, best team in the game last year, best team in the game this year, solidifying themselves at number 1 so far. I think they're the only S tier team. If you had to put them into tiers, I think FaZe is that number 1 S tier team. Everyone else below them is not on their level, in my opinion. I do think they can be beat, don't get me wrong. I do think FaZe can be beat by a lot of these teams, but I mean, especially these top 6 teams, I think could take it to FaZe. But right now I do have them at number 1. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to drop a like. Let me know who you have as your number 1 team, and let me know what you're thinking about this major. I do have my prediction video coming out tomorrow for the major, which is going to be coming out before the matches start. But yeah, hopefully you all did enjoy. Drop a like, subscribe for more CDL content, and I will see you all in the next video.